Hello everyone. Today I am here to start with a online lecture, or we would call it as a video lecture during this lockdown period. As we all know, during this time the world is undergoing a complete pause. It is undergoing a complete lockdown. But we cannot stop or we cannot lock our studies. We have to find some of the other option for all these things. So we are going with an option of online teaching or online learning from your side, right? So today, as I am going to teach you the lesson that is heredity and evolution, from that too, we will go for the half concept, that is another topic, the second part of the lesson, that is evolution. Now when I ask you what is evolution, I guess because you have learned about the topic in your previous year, you may be able to tell about that. But otherwise, if you consider the topic as a new concept, we have to go back and back and back to learn about some of the basics or the root of this topic. As you know, we are studying about science. In science also, we are studying about genetics. In genetics also, we are studying about heredity. And coming to the second part of the heredity, that is, we are going for the topic evolution. Now, why evolution is related to the previous topic, that is heredity, that is heredity studies about genes. And because these genes are responsible in an individual to give a specific character, that is the reason, or this is why heredity is linked with evolution. Why we must know heredity to know evolution. So when you see another video of one of our ma'am, they explain that what is heredity. Heredity means if you say, or if I say, heredity is nothing but transfer of characters from the previous generation to the next generation. Same way, if we relate evolution and heredity, evolution is nothing but transfer of those characters with the modification into the next or the new generation. That is what is known as the evolution. Now, if I go to the word to word definition according to the science, then evolution is nothing but the gradual change or the gradual modification taking place in an individual as the time passes, or the age or the year of the individual goes on passing. That is what is known as the evolution. Now, if we consider evolution according to your textbook, as if you see in the textbook itself, in the first stanza of the evolution, it says that it is a gradual change passing from one generation to another generation. During that passing of characters, those single trait, or what is known as character, is getting modified. So if I give you an example, in very previous days, earlier times, or in ancient times, in ancient age, we were monkeys, rather, right? We call them as apes. Why we were said as monkeys? Based on the body structure which we had during that time, the habitat which we can say, which we took forward during that time. Based on that, we call it as apes. Now, if I ask you, how do we know that all those things? We have some specific characters still present in our body, which give us the proof that yes, we have been evolved or we have been modified from the previous generation, which are the apes, right? And that is why we call it as evolution, or a gradual change from the previous ancient long time generation to the new present modified generation. Now, one more example if I consider, in earlier times, have you heard about appendix? What is appendix? Appendix is an organ, a small organ, even now, which we have present in every individual's body. Many of them get it operated and removed. Why? Because it is creating the disturbance for other organs in the body. But if we remove them, will it not affect the other working of the body? Have you ever thought about that? Yes, it would affect. That is the reason we remove it. But those appendix, or that appendix, was functionable in the ancient organisms. Why? The function of appendix, if you see, is nothing but digestion of the cellulose. Now, where is cellulose present? Cellulose is majorly present in the plants, or the raw parts of the plants. Now, earlier animals, as I said, we were apes, right? We were our ancient monkeys. So, those monkeys used to eat all the raw parts of the plants, and as they contain the cellulose, they need to convert or digest that cellulose, and for that digestion, which was difficult enough, which was more complex as what we are doing now, hence they require that appendix. But now, are we eating anything raw? No, we don't eat anything raw. We eat is cooked food, and that digestion is quite more easier for our normal digestive system to do. Hence, that appendix is now no more functionable, and rather it is getting removed by some of the other means when it is getting created, or when it creates the disturbance for other systems. That is the reason appendix is removed. So appendix is a part or the proof of the ancient evolution taking place in our body. Yes, appendix was present in the earlier organisms. Yes, appendix is present in a today's organism, but it is dysfunctionable. Such organs which are present based on the previous generation but does not have a specific function, they are unnecessary, like we say no, bina kaam ka kind of organisms. Such organisms or such parts or such organs are known as vestigial organs. They are known as vestigial organs. Now coming to the evolution topic only, now you might have heard different cultural traditions, they explain their different theories of evolution or how the universe came into existence. Christians say according to the Bible, their God created the universe step by step in 1 week time. He created every part of the universe. Right? After that, even Hindus or Bhagavad Gita, if you see, Hindus say that our God has created such things as part of evolution, or even Muslims or Sikhs or any other cultural aspects, they explain in their own point of view. But overall, if you think about all those things, if you understand it properly, it says all one theme, that every previous part of the universe is being evolved, modified, generated, and then brought to what it is today. Right? So if you see in a normal theory of evolution is a very tiniest particle is getting modified to form a new organism. According to the textbook, if you see, some of about 3.5 million years ago, there were nothing. There were just pebbles and stones and rocks, just non-living things. So in the combination with the abiotic factors, that is non-living things, and the biotic factors, that is living things, they both combine, and today what we see is the beautiful nature, beautiful environment, beautiful us, beautiful we. Right? All this is nothing. We cannot survive without abiotic factors. Rather, abiotic factors won't be having meaning without we, the biotic factors or the living factors. That is why evolution also considers the point or the part which is known as the combination of biotic as well as abiotic factors. One more point, if you see in olden serials like Ramayana and Mahabharata, they used to use some Sanskrit words. Okay, so Pancha Mahabhuta, as mentioned in your textbook, Pancha Mahabhuta is the word which is used. Those Pancha Mahabhutas, now if you see, ma'am, what is this complicated word you are using? Those Pancha Mahabhutas means, as you see the name Panch, Panch means 5. They have the 5 concepts of the universe which combine together to form a complete functionable universe. Now what are those Pancha Mahabhutas? Pancha means 5, right? As I said, Agni, Vayu, Jala, Prithvi, and one more a rough concept. Randomly, you don't have those specifically in your book. So Pancha Mahabhutas as a word to explain. If at all in exam it comes, they just ask you what is the meaning of Pancha Mahabhutas. Pancha means 5, Mahabhutas means the concepts or the factors responsible for the formation of the universe. That is what is Pancha Mahabhuta. Now overall, at the end of this topic, that is evolution, if I have to say, what is evolution if I ask? It would be better, easy for you to understand or answer. Evolution is a gradual, smooth, easier change, modification taking place from the previous generation to the next generation. In that, another concept what comes is that evolution has different factors which are responsible in itself. One is the atmospheric factor, geographic factor, economical factor, environmental factor. These are some of the rough factors which are responsible for evolution to take place. Now in the next topic or the next concept after this, what we are going to study is the different theories which were used to prove, right? We believe because someone has told us. On what basis that someone person has told you about these? There are some specific theories who have been formed or who have been declared to explain that really the evolution took place in today's generation. We don't know specifically how evolution took place. In order to study that, we also need to know the theories. In the next video, which I will be uploading, are the theories, different theories, just a simple theory of evolution. Then we'll go for the other 3 scientists who had their own ways of point of views to explain their theories or the basis of the theories. Here I end up with the evolution. At the end, I ask you to define in your own words what is evolution, what are the factors taking place for occurrence of the evolution. Rather, in your own words, write a short stanza about what is evolution. Thank you.